Go live, ladies, gentlemen, people of planet Earth. Welcome back. Welcome to the Sunday night program of the A2Z program. I just said program of the program. Can you imagine that? And I'm not even drunk yet. But anyway, thank you for joining us on this great Sunday night. We're here on popculturepros.com, and we're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, and we're every frickin' where you want to be and you want to catch us. And tonight, everyone, I have a very, very special show for you tonight to kick off the inaugural Sunday night special, the inaugural Sunday night time slot. Today is 6/6. That's June 6th, the 6th month, and the 6th day. And why is that significant? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's significant, because today is 6/6 at, 6:39-ish, but we tried to go 666 because my special guest is a man who is familiar to all of you here on Pop Culture Pros. He is a man who has some of the most eloquent taste in music and movies, and probably one of the wittiest and cleverest gentlemen I've ever had the pleasure to have back and forth banter with. He is none other than the host of the Jader co-host, not host. I don't want to take nothing away from Kyle, but he is the co-host of the #1 movie review and movie show on Pop Culture Pros. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a gigantic, enormous, earthquake level welcome to Mr. Jader. Jader!
What up, man? How's it going?
What's up?
Dude,
It's
what
going.
An intro, man.
Oh, dude,
Holy
come on.
shit.
I haven't held
tears right now.
I haven't held back, man. I held back. I had like a book full of stuff I wanted to introduce you as.
Oh my God. So great.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you for
awesome.
having me on the show.
Oh, thank you for being here.
We already have our lovely boss talking shit.
Oh,
We're just gonna piss him off even more now. It's gonna be such a great one.
Oh, look at that. The boss is over there. Oh, wishing us well wishes and salutations to Steve Farace. Hello, boss. We look forward to you, giving us the hook later. But Jader, how's it going, man? What's going on down? Let's catch up a little bit. What's going on down in the deep south end of Florida? How's things going?
Fucking dead bodies everywhere, man. Yeah, man, it's insane. I was So I'm slightly hungover. I probably would join you in a beer in a bit, but I'm having some not some Canada Dry just to ease the headache, and stomach aches, and all that stuff.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I mean, not to get into anything too serious right now, but yeah, man, I woke up to some pretty crazy news. I woke up to a text saying that there had been a shooting very close to my area, which is down here in Kendall. And it's literally 30-second drive, maybe less than a minute's drive of where I was supposed to hang out last night. So it's kind of like not that I would have hung out at that place because it happened to be in a hookah lounge. It was a graduation party. From what I read on the article, it was a graduation party. It sounds at a grad party. There you go, Steve. So yeah, it was at a grad party, and apparently they started opening fire. 3 people died, like a bunch injured.
God.
But it's terrible because it's something that's just been happening way too often in South Florida. Like in the past, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks, there's been maybe, I don't know, like that I heard of. I imagine the things that we don't see or hear, But they actually made articles for. There was another one that was in the middle of a basketball game, or in Wynwood, the little area around here. Just guys getting out of the truck, opening fire. It was a 30-second. It's a video that the police department sent out to see if anybody recognized anybody. But it's been happening so often, and then usually you hear this around the downtown area because Miami's always been pretty gritty, but it's kind of reminding me of what 80s Miami used to be, when it was like, where everything with the cocaine. Not that I was around, but from what I saw, you know, on TV and what I've seen on documentaries, like the cocaine cowboys.
Seriously.
It's kind of scary, especially myself. Again, like the place where that happened is a like I said earlier, is a hookah lounge, but it's a block away from where a very close friend of mine lives. And my kids hang out there all the time, so I can only imagine. Like just on, I want to say on Thursday night, I was there maybe till 1 a.m. You know,
Holy
and
shit.
I know I'm not father of the year that I should be having my kids out so late, but her kids are friends with my kids and all that stuff, and I live fairly close.
Yeah,
So
no.
they were hanging out there and all that. And then I'm like, man, what happens if that would have been like, just 2 days later, or just, me hanging out yesterday? And
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out yesterday. I was like, you know what? I just want to stay home. A bunch of my friends wanted to hang out. And I was like, if you guys are more than welcome to come here. So everybody kind of said, yeah, I live in a small apartment, but, I probably had like 10, 15 people in my little tiny apartment, but we started playing flip cup and beer pong, and it was a lot of fun. So
sweet, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
But that's terrible news though. It's funny. Referencing the old Miami days, I remember I was young. I was probably like 10, 11 years old when all that was going on, but it seemed like every news episode, like no matter what channel you were watching, there was always like some kind of horrible crime involving murder, maybe involving drugs, down in the Miami area. Yeah, because of all that going on. And like it reminds you like the Miami Vice kind of thing, like all those episodes. And
Yeah.
but man, that's terrible that this is
I mean,
escalating
it's
again.
fun in games, I guess, when it's fictional and it's TV and it makes good for good entertainment, but when it's really happening in the backyard, man, it's a wake up call and it's scary,
Oh, it's got to be.
Especially me being a father of two with young kids. Now, all I'm thinking is, damn, do I really, I was raised in this city. I was born and raised in Miami, and I turned out somewhat fine, But it's one of those things that we didn't really see, at least in the area where we lived in. We didn't see too much violence. Some shit went down. I mean, I've had some shit happen in neighborhoods where I grew up in.
Yeah.
But nothing too as bizarre. But hearing it as often, I'm like, it makes you kind of want to like, kind of get out.
Yeah.
So
it kind of makes you reassess everything. Like thinking, like, damn, man, do I feel safe in my own place, my own town, in my own area?
Yeah, man.
That's crazy, man.
Scary thought, man. And again, it's just one of those things that I was like, holy shit. Like any other time, I think I was just tired from the night before. And any other time I would have been like, yeah, I'll go hang. Mm-hmm. But this time I was like, you know what, man, you guys come here. I'm always going out. So I'm like, you guys come here. And I'm like, and I have the kids. I'd rather have them just be in their rooms, asleep when we hang out.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. But yeah, that thought, I was like, fuck, this is crazy, dude.
Dude, that's fucked up, man. That's I'm so glad that you were there and safe. I mean, I'm glad that you weren't there, and I'm glad not only you but your kids, more importantly, didn't have to experience anything. That's such an awful thought to even process through your mind,
And again, you never think that it's gonna happen because, their mom kind of gives me shit. They're like, you shouldn't be out late with them and this and that and that. I'm like, no, I understand. And obviously, she saw what happened, and she immediately was like, this is what I'm talking about. She goes, it's not that you're a danger to them or that you're doing anything, like you're not drinking or driving. It's not that I'm worried about you. I'm worried about what's going on. Like that my kids are home safe. And it was one of those things where I'm like, usually I'll argue back, like, you're wrong. And I'm like, you're right. I'm like, you're absolutely right. So. Right.
But, in an argument or anything like that, there really is no clear one side or the other. I mean, you're both kind of right. You had their best interest. You were protecting them, man. You had them safe. And I understand her concern. I do. Sometimes people tend to get a little overzealous about situations. And given what happened, I guess I kind of understand why. But, I mean, I don't see, like, where you were anywhere like I mean, dude, I know you well enough to know you're a good dad, and I know you well enough that those kids are not going to be. I mean, you got them 100%. There's no way you're ever going to put them in harm's way. Never.
1,000%, man. Those kids are
never. Never going to happen, dude. I know that for a fact, and that's just the truth, and that's the way it is. But
well, that's things around my end down here. But
no shit. We're having it's funny. Speaking of Miami, we're having Miami like weather up here in upstate New York. We were at 93 today. 93 degrees.
I follow this comedian. His name is I think like Radel Ortiz or something. He's like, he does a lot of Spanish bits, but I think he's hilarious. And today he put a thing where he's just dripping in sweat. And in his videos, you can tell he just sweats as is. So it's just a selfie of him dripping in sweat. And it says 91 degrees across. I just saw him literally minutes before jumping on the show. So I'm like, I know you guys are probably having pretty hot weather right now.
Oh, it's crazy, dude. And you know what the craziest part is a week ago, exactly today. Okay, a week ago, it was 45 degrees here.
And I thought we had weather.
Dude, it was 45 degrees. Lauren turned the heat. I told her, I said, Lauren, we got to turn the heat on tonight. This is crazy. It's going to be frosty when we go out to get in our cars. And like, it was nuts. But then just slowly, here we go. We got back to the 60s. By Wednesday, it was in the 70s. By Thursday, it was approaching 80.
Climbing up.
Yesterday, it was almost 90. And today we hit 90. So it's, it's fucking crazy, man. This fucking weather is crazy. The world's fucking crazy. But listen, dude, since you're here and since you and I, we share a mutual love for extreme music, heavy metal, and we both like a lot of the same bands. And I went and I found a list. I went through a lot of lists to try to find one that I thought was well enough put together, because I could put a list together, but, you know, I'm lazy and I don't want to do that. So, what I like to do is I like to compile lists from other sources on the internet to get something cool. And I have what is compiled by this is I think it's actually just called the Top Tens. I go to them a lot because they have a lot of cool top tens that I actually resource and cite. So we're gonna go through quick, Jader. And when I say quick, meaning we're going to bullshit about each band and how we feel about it, and actually how we feel about this whole list. But right now, we're going to do the top 10 best metal bands of all time. And before I do that, I'm gonna make this official. I actually made a cool banner. Jader is here, so that is how we're going to rock this.
Yeah.
And right now, we're going to get into. By the way. The Farace says, have an amazing final episode. And he capitalized amazing. And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy that he at least gave us that exuberance and that benefit of at least proclaiming that this will be an amazing final. Because he's right about one thing. It is going to be amazing. But anyway, Jader, let's get into this, man. So you and I, we love extreme music. We love metal.
Did you not see that?
What's that?
I said some Conjuring shit just happened here, man. Just light went out.
Was that wasn't you fucking around? That was real?
That's this whole 666 thing going on, man. This episode is for real.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, we got witches, vampires everywhere around here.
Everywhere.
Right. So here we go. We're gonna do the top 10 metal bands of all time, as compiled by the top10s.net. And coming in at number 10, Jader, is the band Death. Now, are you familiar with the band Death?
No, familiar with the T-shirts. I would never wear a shirt that I have this huge thing, which is funny because I'm gonna show you on camera.
Do it.
I don't like when people wear shirts that they don't know the band of. I have this thing.
I love it.
It pisses me off.
Me too.
I know it should be something that I should, we shouldn't care, whatever it is, what it is, but they use it as a fashion statement. I'm like, fuck that, man.
Yeah, so, dude.
Literally sent me this today, which is awesome that we're talking about it. But it's a guy pointing a finger at a kid wearing Nirvana. Oh, sorry. Hold on. It's little kids wearing Nirvana t-shirt, right? Which I almost wore for today's episode. And it says, he's pointing at the kid and it says, name 3 songs. Which I find hilarious. So Death, I can't even tell you that I know a single song. I'd be lying, but I'm very familiar with their t-shirts because they have cool designs, but it goes against my beliefs, so I would never wear their t-shirt without knowing who they are or listening to their song. Which it's funny. My uncle is the one that got me into metal, and it was his birthday on May 27th. And in
Oh wow.
conversation, yeah, in conversation, um, we always just shoot the shit. He's my mom's younger brother, but I see him as my older brother.
Right.
Um, uncle, but we basically call him off his first name because he's only a couple years older than me,
Okay.
and he was my introduction to metal and all that. So I'm always just shooting the shit at his house. He lives probably like 5 minutes away.
Sweet.
Bottle of whiskey, listening to metal, listening to music, and all that stuff. But he had told me a couple months back that we were talking a band. We were actually talking Metallica. I'm lying. I thought it was Pantera, but it was Metallica. We were talking Metallica, and he was telling me how much he always wanted a Misfits shirt, that famous Misfits shirt with the skull and all that.
Yeah,
But
dude.
he's like, I've never heard this band. He's more into the metal than the punk. And he was just saying, like, he's like, I've always wanted that shirt just because Cliff Burton would wear it during shows, and he saw him. And I was like, man, but you don't listen to that band. Why would you? He goes, it's just more of a Cliff had it. I want it as well. Cause he's like, I love him to death. So for his birthday, I got it for him and I gave it to him. And I was like, this goes against everything that I stand for. But here's your famous shirt. And he goes, oh shit, dude. Awesome. Like, it was wrapped around with a bottle of whiskey.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude. So, but yeah, Death can't really say much on him, man. I'm sorry. I apologize that we're starting off on this route already.
That's okay because it's kind of okay that we do that because Death actually is from Tampa, a little north of you, I guess a lot north. Yeah. But Chuck Schuldiner, they call him kind of like a godfather of death metal because he started Death like when he was like 16. And I think he got signed when he was like 17. Regardless of that, he was in the mid 80s doing extreme metal, and like Death is regarded as like one of the greatest like extreme metal bands of all time. I got into them a lot when I was younger. I thought they were really cool. Probably Human is where I would start. If you ever wanted to get into them, the album Human is a fucking phenomenal album from start to finish.
I will definitely put it on the queue for today. So I will.
Oh, dude,
give my feedback.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. And I tell you what. Side note. I agree with you about the concert T-shirt and the band T-shirt thing, but I also think it's cool. I mean, that's an exception. Your uncle. Because, like, dude, how can you not like want to do it because of Cliff, man? That to me, fuck it. I don't care if Cliff wore it, man. I would fucking wear it.
Yeah,
Cliff,
that's pretty much where. Again, this was a couple months ago. He honestly thought it was like one of those throwaway conversations, but it's with me because I'm like, what can I get him, man? I'm like, he I love this man to death.
Yeah.
But
to death.
Yeah, but he so I'm like, I gotta get him something, and me and him basically always exchange booze. So he'll give me a bottle for my birthday. I gave him a bottle for his birthday. This time I was like, I'm gonna get him that T-shirt. I completely forgot, and it was the day of his birthday. I just happened to be walking around the mall and I saw the shirt. I'm like, fuck yeah, there it is.
Awesome. That's a fucking great story, man. That's such a great story. Kyle's checking in. Kyle's wondering who the hell is this, Kyle. Kyle, you're actually tuned in to the greatest talk show on Pop Culture Pros, which is the only talk show, by the way, on Pop Culture Pros. But Kyle, if you're lost, we can draw you a map, and don't get too salty with me, buddy, because you're going to be in my neck of the woods soon, and although I am an upstate guy, I am a city dude. I know the city very well, and I have a lot of people down there, and I can show you around. Like I said, I want to give him AZ's subway tour because I'll give you a quick story on that, Jader. I went down to I used to go down to visit Tim. I still do. I haven't, since the COVID happened, but I'm going to soon. But I was a frequenter of New York, going down to visit Tim. We'd hang out. I'd stay down there, and I got familiar with the city, but when I wasn't so familiar with the city, because I'm going to be honest with you, getting on those subways is shit. It's like, you think you're going this way, but you're really going over here, and you think this one's going like towards the city. It's going away from the city, and this one stops only at these two, and you got to get off and get another one. So I was all fucked up. Oh, it's a nightmare. But yeah, Tim's got it down to a science. So he's telling me, he goes, dude, He goes, I know you want to go explore because I'm an explorer. And he knows, I know you want to go fuck around. He goes, above all, I know you want to go get those donuts that you like because there's a donut shop down there that is the fucking best donuts you ever have. I don't want you to have one, Jader, because you're so far away from them. If you eat one, you'll never eat another donut in your life. That's how good they are.
Actually, I have a slight plans. Not slight plans. I hope to have plans. I plan on going on October.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never been up there.
No shit. You never been up north?
No. I've only been like around the whole United States. Funny enough, I've only been to maybe like 3 states. I've been to Detroit. I've been to Detroit.
Okay.
Which sucked.
Yeah.
But I went to Detroit to go see Eminem and Jay-Z. As much as I love metal, I have that same love for hip hop. But
that's fuck. Well, they're kind of okay. You just brought up something interesting. I'll finish my story in a minute. I want to expound on this.
Yeah.
Do you feel? Because I've always felt back in the day, even now, that metal and hip hop are although different genres, we're kind of in the same. Like we're in the same kind of like atmosphere as like we're kind of like the music. They're kind of like the music that like there's pop and there's country and there's all this bullshit. But like hip hop and metal are always the ones that get scrutinized, always the ones that get like, oh, this is so bad and this. So we're kind of like liking these kind of things, outcasted from, modern society and stuff. So do you feel there's kindred spirit between hip hop and metal? Like there's that mutual respect, right?
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah.
And a lot of and there's, again, I said that I went to go visit Eminem. If you listen to Eminem's lyrics, they're like metal. They're super dark and, twisted.
Super.
And they have like DMX, rest in peace to DMX. DMX had, as much as crazy as it is that he would rap about, he had a lot of prayers and a lot of, praising God and all that stuff. Like his shit was dark. Like his storytelling was ridiculous. Like he everything about it. He even had those songs called Damien, which for me were incredible. Where he actually had Marilyn Manson in the second album do the chorus of the song with him.
That's right.
Obviously, you had Marilyn Manson with Eminem in the way I Am music video and things like that. Like and there's lots of artists. There's a lot of new artists. There's this guy named Hobson. Many people don't. He's like the Black Eminem, to be completely honest with you. Very dark. He wears the white contacts and
okay.
Very, very underrated. I feel like lyrically he's disgusting. But yeah, I absolutely share that same sentiment, to be honest with you. I feel they're always at those extremes, and they're one of the genres that get attacked the most, whether it be the lyrics and the just the way the performers and the shit that the censorship is a bitch.
Censorship sucks, and it always seemed to me like because hip hop and metal were the most free form, like expressive to me types of music, because it's just guys like us who are into that. We are of that vein, or like we just don't give a fuck. We like what we like. We're gonna do what we do. But people want to interpret it and they want to see just one thing and think like, okay, they're talking about Satan. These guys are satanic, or he's Eminem or Dre or even DMX or like Biggie or whatever. They're talking about drugs, so they're just fucking drugs. It's not even like that. We're expressing feelings that not just they feel, but we feel too. Something we can identify with. It's like it's not just about like people want to just pinpoint one little thing, and they fail to see the big picture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Things out of context. It's just like everything.
Exactly
what it is. They'll read that one line, not seeing a whole verse on what it's talking about. But like there's a Trivium song in the middle of it. It's talking about it's called the Entrance of the Conflagration. It's one of my favorite Trivium songs. That's
a good song.
That song's amazing, and it reminds me so much of like thrash speed Metallica days.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know a little history on Trivium. They're from Orlando as well.
Are they from Orlando?
They're from Orlando. 2 of them are from West Palm. or one of the remaining ones, because the two from that started with West Palm, one of them's not in the band anymore, but they're from Central Florida, and they started off on talent shows just covering Metallica songs.
No shit.
Yeah, that's how they were kind of found. And then he said, they got signed, wrote their own stuff, and the rest is history. But I remember I was listening to the song, and I had a friend that doesn't really listen to music, but I'm driving, so you listen to whatever the fuck I want in my car. There's a I guess he wasn't really listening, but the one line that stuck out to him was like, she succumbed to Satan. And that song is not about anything satanic whatsoever, but it's what stuck out to him. And he, why do you listen to this satanic shit all the time? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, here. And I had to give him my phone. I'm like, read the lyrics. And he goes, man, this is a pretty good song. I was like, you idiot.
It is. It's so terrible because, like, even like if you want to really get like deep into this, like I'll just give a quick small example, like Deicide. Like Deicide have like inverted crosses in their forehead and all these gory blasphemous lyrics, but when you actually talk to the band, they're like, well, we don't believe one way or the other. We're actually atheists, and we just write about this kind of music because we find it interesting. We write about these lyrics.
You know where Deicide's from?
Are they also from Florida?
Tampa
had a big metal scene, man. Tampa has a big metal scene. That's kind of cool. But Death. Let's get back to Death. Death was number 10. So that was kind of cool. That whole expounding on that, Jader. That took us to a cool place. But I'll tell you,
I get on these tangents all the time, and we'll come back. We promise, folks. We'll always come back to what we're talking about. But I will steer us so far right or left.
Listen, man. That's what I tell people a lot. How like just say like you and your friend are going to go for a ride an hour away, and you're going to you're going to go see a concert. You're going to go to a restaurant or something. It's like it's not really like what you're doing is one of the main things, but the big deal of the whole thing is getting there and getting back. That's the time shared. Yeah.
That's the journey, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the time shared. And that's basically the highlight of the trip. And that's the most memorable and the most meaningful of any kind of trip is the bullshitting, is the sharing, is the getting to know more stuff and having cool conversations.
Some of my favorite memories honestly come from, I have so many inside jokes with me and my buddy, like road tripping to go see a band, right?
Yeah.
And I'll share this one. It's nothing too crazy, but it was the funniest thing ever. So we went to go see Slipknot and Trivium, up in Orlando, and we were driving back, and you know that feeling after a metal show, after moshing and all that stuff, you're just tired. The thing was that, we didn't have, this was like 13, 14 years ago, right? And we didn't have enough money to go to to rent a hotel or anything. So we drove up same day, went to go see the show, got loose, came back down. So it was a 4-hour drive up, 4-hour drive down at almost 11 o'clock at night. We were dead tired. So, we get in the car and we're driving back, and it's just silence, dude. It's just quiet. We were just kind of like, we got our asses kicked in that show. So we're just, we're driving back, and all of a sudden, at the same time, we kind of say like, it's a little quiet. And he's like, yeah, man, let's do some tunes. Fucking turn on the radio, and Celine Dion's on, Power of Love. Great dude. And we are singing our asses off, dude. And we did that whole we ended up doing that type of music. Just we did Total Eclipse of the Heart. We were just serenading, dude, and then he's like, fuck, man, we just came back from a Slipknot concert and we're listening to this shit. And I'm like, best moments ever. So now we have this whole side joke that if we do a road trip and we're gonna go see a metal band, we will jam to Katy Perry, Mariah Carey. Like, we do all these female bits, and we just the whole way up. He's like, no metal, we're just gonna do that, and that's just something. and that's one of the few things that but again, it's always it's the journey, man, and it's bizarre because there I've had so many, like, again, it's just up and down Florida, like Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and stuff that where we go.
Yeah.
But it's just always a good time.
Yeah, it is.
The obviously the destination and us trying to get to a show or to Disney or to Universal, yeah, that's all fun. But we always, and my friends, for the most part, we all have, obviously we're friends. We all have kind of the similar traits. So we're always cracking jokes on each other. We literally have pools of who's gonna ask to go first to the bathroom, and and he's like, oh, 2 hours in, here's the 20. And they're like, and then like there was one time that we made that deal without the person knowing. It was like a certified, like that person always asked to go to the freaking bathroom. And then so it happened, and you just see in silence everybody get the $20 bill to the guy that called it within the less than 2 hours into the trip. And so it's just a lot of fun, man.
It is, man. The journey, the trip to and from anywhere is one of the biggest parts of anything, and it's not just fun. It's intimate. It's fun. And you discover like so much new shit about each other. It's fun, and you never know. It's just like you said. You could be singing Celine Dion. You could be listening to like NPR or something. You know what I mean? Something's gonna hit you, and you're gonna connect on something.
Hell yeah!
And that's cool. So okay, so we're talking about newer metal. The number 9 band on this list is actually probably, I'm not as familiar with them. I know of them, but I'm not as familiar with a lot of their music, and that's Avenged Sevenfold.
Number 9.
Number 9.
All time.
Can you believe that?
Holy shit!
That's kind of bizarre to me. Are you a fan of them?
Yeah, I can't say that I'm not, man. I can't say that I'm not. It took me a while, and I'll tell you exactly. Funny enough, trip to Orlando. I went to go see the Deftones, right?
Okay,
so
yeah.
Deftones with the same buddy of mine, and Nardo was actually with me.
Oh,
so
shit!
It's her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend is actually my best friend.
Oh, okay.
That's how I met Nardo.
Gotcha.
So it was us three, and we had planned to go to Horror Nights, right? So we got there the night before because we found out Deftones were in town. So him and I were like, he told her, he's like, hey, I'm either gonna go with Jader and you can meet up with us later, because my ex at the time, who was the mother of my kids, she was meeting us up at Horror Nights because she's like, I don't care to go to that show, I'll just meet you guys after, or work or something. She couldn't make it to the show, so he's like, you can catch a ride with her if you want, and then I'll go to the show. And she was, no, I love the Deftones, I want to see them. So he's like, all right. So it was us three. So us three, we went up there. I thought Deftones were headlining because Avenge was there.
Okay.
It was the other way around. So Avenge was headlining the show, and Deftones were on first.
No shit.
So, which I was like, the level of disrespect is insane. Anyway, so we get to the show, and I told him, I'm like, dude, we watch Deftones. If Avenge sucks, we leave. We'll go to the bar, get drunk. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. Tones finished the show, man. They kick ass as usual. And Avenge comes on stage, and it was recent. It was for the Hail to the King album for that tour.
Okay.
And their stage is massive, dude. Massive.
No shit.
Huge skeleton looking, kind of like Game of Thrones. I don't know if you've seen the front cover of Game of Thrones where you see Ned Stark sitting on the throne with the sword.
I have.
Famous picture. It was that, like, almost exact copy of but it was a skull king, and it just huge, man, maybe 20-25 feet skeleton, and it was the main stage, and it just looked fucking metal, man. It was
wow, dude.
And they start the show, and let me tell you that I did not see that stadium, like, the floor was shaking of how the energy of the fans, because they have a huge fan base. So it's not really shocking.
Oh, they do.
It's not really shocking that they are number 9. But again, I wasn't a fan. They got on stage. Nardo's first words were, "Oh my God, they're hot." Never. And I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense on why they had this fan base too. Also, like, and there was a lot of chicks in the crowd.
There you go.
But they start and they're fucking rocking, man. And I'm like, and I go to my boy. My boy's like, we're not leaving. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, this is pretty good. I became an instant fan that night. They're such a great live band. Now, I don't really go out of my way to listen to them.
Right.
I have here and there. I'll get it. I'll get the itch. They have this this album called Nightmare. I think it's like their 4th or 5th album. That's my favorite one. They're out of their whole thing. I thought the production was good. The solos were good. The drumming was great. And it had a theme with, obviously nightmares and, schizophrenia and sale asylums. And I'm like, all right, I like this. But they were just such a great band live. And I've seen them, I think 3 times. I actually started paying to go see them afterwards.
No shit.
They are a live show. Actually, last time I saw them was in 2017. Metallica took them on tour, and they opened for Metallica.
No shit.
Yeah,
Avenged Sevenfold.
Avenged Sevenfold opened for Metallica in 2017.
Wow.
Miami.
So it sounds to me by what you're describing here, they're deserving a little bit to be on. Well, I mean, all time is a little.
So this is my issue with them. They started with this kind of like metalcore punk thing, and then they started graduating to like more metal and thrash and all that stuff. But that tour that I went to, the Hail to the King, they get so much shit because a lot of their songs sound like, one of them sounds like Sad But True, one of them sounds like Night Train from Guns N' Roses. So they copy a lot. And the younger fans are like, oh, it's not copying, it's more of an homage. But I'm like, it looks like you're straight copying and ripping these bands off. So I liked that album because I guess it's in me that I like GNR and Metallica and AC/DC and all these bands. And sure. I'm like, but the like I said, their Nightmare was more them. It was something different that they brought to the table. So that's why I appreciate that album so much more. So they've had, I think, like 1 or 2 albums after that tour, and it hasn't hit the same to me. And I think it's them, all the backlash. If you look up like backlash from the Hail to the King album, it's a lot of I'm actually wearing a Machine Head shirt.
Oh, and Machine Head. Oh.
And yeah, Rob Flynn ate them alive.
Did he really?
Yeah, he went off on them, saying you guys are way better than this to be copying so many different artists. He's like, this album was trash, and like he went in and he goes and he's like, and this is not even trying to be disrespectful to you guys, because he's like, I like you guys. Remember, they're from Long Beach, they're from California,
right?
And so is Rob. Rob and Machine Head was formed in Cali too.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know you guys personally, and he goes, I'm just disappointed that you guys thought that this was okay. It was like a huge thing with the Hail to the King album. Again, wow. It's not a bad sounding album. It's just, if you hear it, you will, the first thing in fact, funny enough, my son likes Metallica a lot, right?
Does he? Wow.
Yeah, he really likes Metallica. And I played that album. It came on shuffle. And my son's like, oh, this is Sad But True. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. This is an Avenged Sevenfold song. And he goes, who are they? Like, I don't even show him Avenged. I'm showing him slowly but surely. Like, he listens to Queen. He listens to a lot of Queen. He listens to Metallica. But Metallica is hands down his favorite. He's obsessed with One, For Whom the Bells Toll. He loves Master of Puppets. He loves, it's just, there's so many songs of theirs that, and he tells me, he's like, Dad, they're my favorite. He's like, they are awesome. And I was like, whoa, I did it. I
was gonna say, if nothing else you did, you fucking did that.
Yeah.
And that's fucking, everything else is downhill.
But yeah, so again, Avenged is not a bad band. It's crazy to me because there's so many bands. They're not in my top 20.
Right, not even really in your wheelhouse, but they're fun to watch. Again,
my girlfriend Steph loves them, and she legitimately thinks that they're just a really great band. It's crazy again because that Metallica show, her and I weren't together during that time, but she was at the show. She went with Nardo, because Steph. Okay, it's funny. Like, Nardo's ex is my best friend, but my girlfriend is Nardo's best friend.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why me and Nardo fucking always say, I think Nardo's coming over tonight, actually, she told me.
Oh, sweet.
No, it's not.
Not sweet. Not sweet at all.
No, but yeah, so she's been dying to see Avenged, right? And she's like, they never toured this and that and that, and then they ended up touring with Metallica, and she she gets pissed when I tell, not pissed, but it pisses her off when the story's told, because she like rushed out of work trying to get ready, and then she's like, she managed to get tickets day of, like one of her coworkers was like, I can't make it to this Metallica show. I'm trying to sell these tickets. Do you know anybody who wants them? And then she goes, I'll take them. And then she goes, you listen to that? She goes, no, but I like Avenged Sevenfold and I know they're going to be there. So she was dying to see Avenged, tells Nardo, are you in or out? Nardo's like, I'm in. She's like, perfect. I'm going to pick you up. She goes to pick up Nardo. Nardo's not ready.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. She's like, what the hell have you been doing this whole time? They get in the car, they jet over to the stadium, they get to their seats, Avenged literally goes, thank you, good night, leaves. And Nardo missed the whole Avenged show. Nardo she's been very vocal about not liking Metallica, and Steph looked at her and she goes, you're staying for the whole Metallica show.
You're fucking right.
She goes, I don't care. But because of that night, Nardo converted into a Metallica fan because she was blown away by how great they were live. A little
Thank
fun
God
fact.
for that. Thank God for that. Oh wow. Well, you know what? That's less I have to beat up on Nardo for then. If she's a Metallica fan, I got no problem with that.
But I'll take them at any age, any time. I don't care how late in the game, as long as
any.
Yeah,
bro.
She give me so much shit for listening to them all the time. And she's like, "Why do you like this band?" And I'm like, "They're the best. They're just,
fucking Metallica.
And you've never seen them live. You need to. They're awesome as is, because I listen to Metallica every week, at least 2 to 3 days out of the week. I listen to them all the time, and she went to the show, and I told her, if you've never seen them live, I'm like, even if you don't even have to listen to them in the car anymore, just I guarantee you they'll turn you into a fan.
Yeah.
And that day she's like, she texts me, she goes, I am so sorry for talking shit about Metallica. You were completely right. Like, I got that text immediately after that show ended.
I hope you screenshotted it too. I would frame it. I would frame it.
No. But again, Avenged, it's not a band that I hate. It's not a band that I love. They're just there. I do have my moments where I'll get into like that Avenged rabbit hole for that one day, where if I'm listening to one song, it'll trigger this song, that song, this song, that song, and I'll listen to the albums. I pretty much like the first like 3 albums of theirs. But again, it's not something that I can it's not like Metallica or like a Slipknot for me, where it's constant in the car, in the house, wherever I'm at. Right. I'll just, I'll reserve like that one day out of the year to listen to Avenged. So, but I know their fan base, again, is huge. A lot of my friends here are like super big Avenged Sevenfold fans. But
no shit. Yeah. So I didn't realize their fan base was that big, but God, now
it's huge.
Reading this and hearing it from you, it's like, holy shit. But
if you do have a chance to go see an Avenged show live,
do it.
I would invest. They're a great live band. They're performers, 100%. Their stage is amazing. Their lights, their pyro, everything about it. It's a kick-ass show. Kick-ass. Yeah.
I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
I might have to. You might have made a small fan out of me.
That's how it happened to me. That's why I told her, I'm like, look, I wasn't an Avenged fan. I went to see Avenged, and I was like, man, they kicked ass. I'm like, and I told her, you just got to give Metallica a chance live. I promise you, it'll change your life.
And it did.
Yep, that's what happened.
It did. So, Jader, number 8. Moving on from Avenged. I don't know if this is in the same vein, but I do like these guys, and I'll call them metal. They're definitely metal. But I'm going to say they're more like progressive metal, like melodic metal, because they're such good instrumentalists. Like I wouldn't even dare try.
Can I guess the band?
I want you to guess, based on what I just said, I want you to guess the band.
It's a Tool?
It is not Tool.
Oh, okay. 9 Inch Nails?
No.
Okay, you got me, man.
Dream Theater.
Dream Theater.
They're number 8.
Not a fan. I think they're awesome. I got to see them live. That's another band that their concert was great. I went to go see them because Trivium opened for them, which is the oddest pairing in my opinion, because it's completely two different.
Boy, that is.
Yeah, so it was Trivium opening for Dream Theater. I drove my ass to Pompano, which isn't too far, but that show slipped through the cracks to me until a buddy of mine called me. Rest in peace. He passed away, but he's a huge metal fan as well. He was a huge metal fan, and most of my metal journeys were with him. And he calls me and he's like, "Dude, did you know Trivium is here today?" And I'm like, "Where?" And he goes, "Pompano." And I'm like, "No way." I'm like, "We would have heard about this." And then he goes, "Slipped through the cracks, man. It's one of those shows I guess we ignored." He goes, "They're not headlining." And I'm like, this was like at 4:00. I'm like, "What time does the show start?" He's like 6:30, doors open. Trivium probably goes on at 7.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Let's go." I'm like, "I have nothing to do. Let's go."
Yeah.
And we hauled ass. Literally thought I was gonna die on my way over there because he used to drive like a psycho. But we hauled ass over there. Saw Trivium play. There was no moshing, which was they had rules everywhere. No moshing allowed, no pits. And I'm like, "What the hell is this?" So everybody, we were just like headbanging, but it wasn't the same, like
It's not.
yeah. And so Trivium got off, and it was Dream Theater. We saw maybe 40 minutes of the set, more or less. And then he looked at me. He goes, "Dude, they're great. Don't care for them. You want to ride?" Or he goes, "I'll stick around if you do." I'm like, "No, I kind of feel the same. I thought you like them."
Yeah.
I think Mark Portnoy is like incredible drummer.
He is.
But again, it's not for me. And that that's okay to say sometimes. Like, it's just some bands. The fun part was when I was exiting the venue, as we were walking to the car, we bumped into Trivium, and we had a beer.
Really?
Yeah.
No
we had a
shit.
beer. That was pretty
Got
cool.
to hang out with them a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So, but,
Dream Theater, I like maybe 4 songs, 5.
yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a fan. I definitely probably wouldn't put them on this list. I'm really surprised at that. At least they're up at the bottom. But I think you're going to be a little happier with the next band. You're going to be happy to hear that this band's on here. You're not going to be happy at the position, which neither am I, because the way this list is going, I would have probably put these guys up higher.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big fan of these guys, as you know I am. And dude, coming at number 7 is Pantera. Now, come on.
Way lower, man. That was way too low for Pantera, dude.
Way too low for Pantera. Pantera's a 4. Pantera's a top 4, top 5 for me.
They could have easily been part of the big 4.
Very easily.
Or the if they had the big 5, they should have definitely been part of that. And this is no disrespect to Anthrax, because I love that band.
Oh, me too.
I feel Pantera is more deserving of being in the big 4 than Anthrax personally.
Okay.
And this is not again. I absolutely love Anthrax. Like,
yeah.
I can't say it enough. Their shows, and there's just such humble dudes. Man, I'm loving that we're talking about all this. I've met Joey Belladonna.
No shit.
Yeah, I met the lead singer. Before COVID was a thing, obviously. This was I want to say 2012.
Oh wow!
On my birthday, we my same buddy that passed away. He came from money. He came from a lot of money. He's a big metal guy, and he had cancer. He had terminal cancer. And he was like John Hammond from Jurassic Park. He spared no expense.
Shit.
So I remember Slipknot announced a tour that they were coming. I think it was Mayhem Fest, if I'm not mistaken. Mayhem Fest, they announced that they were coming to Tampa. And I obviously jumped on the tickets the day they dropped. And show comes, and I'm sorry, I see that the show is on July 13th, which is my birthday, and I'm like, this is the best birthday present ever. I'm gonna flip it. I can't wait. And so we go. It's my best friend, Nardo's ex. my buddy Roman, his wife, and myself. It was the four of us. We always went to concerts together, and we went up to Tampa. So when we go, I had my tickets at box office. So when we go to box office, I ask for my tickets, and I get them. And my buddy turns around and he looks at me and he smiles. He goes, "Hey," because there were scalpers, like people looking for tickets and all that. He goes, "Get rid of those tickets." And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you, dude. I got pit tickets." Like I was like, "I'm not getting rid of those." And he goes, "Happy birthday, motherfucker." And he gave me backstage passes to the Slipknot show. So I got to be on stage while they were performing.
What the fuck?
Cool experience. Never do it again. I would, because it's nothing like being front and center. But
right,
it was awesome to me to see, while they're just they were walking right in front of me. We got to meet Corey Taylor, and it was just it was insane. And then it was a festival. It was Mayhem Fest. So obviously Slipknot was headlining.
Right.
There was Anthrax right next to me, watching them perform.
No shit.
Yeah, you had Rob Flynn from Machine Head was like 10 feet away from me. So for me, that was the experience. It wasn't, but I felt like I missed out on a Slipknot show that year, because I was more like looking to the side and oh my God. And Joey Belladonna, my friend, had a great voice, actually. He had a really good voice. And during Sulfur, my friend just lets it out singing the chorus, right? To the point where Joey turned around, looked at him and went like, "Dude, you have some pipes."
No shit.
Well, my buddy didn't know who the hell Joey Belladonna was, because I was shocked, but he just wasn't an Anthrax fan. And he's like, "Who is that?" And then I'm like, "Dude, that's Joey Belladonna from Anthrax. That's the lead singer of Anthrax. They gave you the thumbs up that you got some pipes on you." And he goes, "Hey, Joey." And he goes, "Hey, Joey, big fan, man. Love your shit." And I was like, "You fucking lying sack of shit." And but then I said pre-COVID, because we asked to take a picture with him and, shake his hand, obviously. And he goes, "Oh, I don't shake hands." And to the picture, it was kind of one of those, like, not 6 feet, but he kept his distance from us. He's a germaphobe.
So he's an early social distancer. Wow, he's
probably dying during this time.
Like, I was gonna say, he what do you do? Fucking lock himself in his house, put fucking tinfoil up and shit.
Everybody else after that was awesome. We had the guitarist, as I lay dying next to us. He took pictures of us. He's like, "How you guys enjoying the show?" I'm like, "Man, your set was awesome." Like, it was a lot of interaction, and he was the one. Again, he told my friend, "Great voices," and that, but he kind of like kept his. He wasn't a dick about it by any means or anything like that.
Right, but he just presented it like, I'm not like, "Hey,
yeah, dude, I don't do that," And I was like, "Oh, I understand, man. That's fine,"
Yeah.
But going back to Pantera, man, same uncle that I was talking about earlier, he's the one that showed me who Pantera was. I remember I didn't discover Pantera until way late. I was getting into metal because I grew up, obviously, here in Kendall. We didn't have a lot of like, rockers or anything like that. So just giving you a quick little music history on myself.
Sure.
Loved Metallica. Loved Enter Sandman as a kid. Like that song will forever be in my head. Right. The first time I heard it, first time I saw the video on MTV. But after that, everything was hip hop. Biggie, Tupac, Wu-Tang, Outkast. Like that's what they would play on the radio. So that's what I would listen to. Puff Daddy, all that stuff. So I remember my uncle was always heavy into metal. He always had like skulls in his background and, Slayer and Iron Maiden banners and, all this stuff. And I remember he told me, he goes, my first CD ever that I bought with my own money was actually Green Day Dookie. That was, wow. I saved money. Like my mom would give me allowance, or we're doing stupid shit around the house, and she would give me an allowance, and I finally used to save money. And because I heard Basket Case, right? Classic.
That's the one. That's the one. Yep.
That was the radio hit. Obviously, I heard it, and I'm like, man, this song is awesome, dude. When did that come out? 94. I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, 94, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I was like 8 years old, and heard Dookie and begged my mom. Like I think I was missing like $4, and she's like, I'll get it for you. So she got it. She goes, it doesn't say bad words, right? Because my mom had a thing with cuss words. And I have funny, my sailor's mouth came from hers, so she just says it in Spanish, right? But I was like, no, it doesn't have bad words. Lied my ass off because I had already heard Longview because a buddy of mine had the CD, so I would always like in the morning in school, like I'm like, let me listen to number 4. It was Longview, and whatever. I got my album, this and that and that. So my uncle was like, when he heard like Green Day, he was like, not the step I wanted you to take, but I'll take it. And he goes, that band sucks. He goes, you want to listen to a real band? You listen to Metallica, you listen to these people, whatever. Time passed, still with my hip hop. 1999 was when the new metal started going on. That's when Slipknot, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Korn was already big, but
they were already big, yeah.
But Korn came out in like 95, which was probably the second metal band that I got pretty obsessed with. I heard Blind, 4th grade during the Duke. I think it was a year after Dookie came out or whatever. And I heard Blind and oh my God. And that got me like this. But again, and it sucks that I would think this way. It was just the way I would think. It wasn't cool, rock is weird, so it was one of, mind you, I would always dress in like Airwalks and Vans, and like I always had it in me. But It wasn't, my friends weren't listening to that stuff. My friends, it was talking about Biggie and Tupac and who shot who and, the gangster rap and all that shit. So
that was the thing. That's what you were around. Yeah.
For me to say, hey, I like this Korn stuff, this heavy metal shit, like this is literally quite music to my ears. But I would always keep it in secret. It was one of those weird things that I just wouldn't admit that I loved metal ever. But I had heard Korn. My friend had the album, so I would listen to it, and then that was it. It was I never went back to Korn ever again. New metal hits. My cousin is always been like that rocker guy. He's always liked rock music, but he was more into the punk rock, right?
Yeah.
So we're playing video games, and I promise you this is gonna get to Pantera, I promise. So, I'm playing video games, and he goes, hey man, this album came out yesterday. A buddy of mine burned the CD for me. He's like, it's kind of crazy, but I feel like you'd like it. And he gives me Slipknot's album. He gives me the first Slipknot album, and from the very, very, very opening notes to the song Sick, I was instantly hooked on this band. I'm like, what the hell? And I already heard Limp Bizkit. Yeah. But Limp Bizkit was that hip hop rock, so it was an easy transition. But Slipknot wasn't like that. Slipknot was a pure metal band where I'm like, what is it? And then I started like, seeing the masks and, the lyrics. And I'm like, bro, this guy's talking about, fucking killing people. And so I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, it was just like insane to me. Again, my house, I burned the CD. I don't tell my mom about that I have this album, but I'm jamming to it. My uncle was always coming in and out of the house because I lived with my grandmother. So he would go and see his mom. And he hears Slipknot. And he opens the door and he goes, what is this? And I'm like, dude, this is a band that Oscar, which is my cousin, his nephew. And I'm like, Oscar showed me this band, and I've been upset. This album's amazing. He goes, that is heavy shit, man. He's like, good for you.
They are.
He's like, good for you, man. Good for you. Some time passed, right? So that's 1999. We're jumping into 2001. 2001, he gets a divorce. And like I said, me and him were very close. I was only 13 years old at the time. He was like, I don't know, but he got a divorce, right? I think he's maybe like 15 years older than me, 10 years older than me, around there. He was young. And he like kind of called me, which was crazy because again, I'm 13 at the time. And he tells me, he goes, let's go watch a movie together. I'm like, all right. So we go to our local theater at the mall, and we're going to go see the Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. As this is happening, FYE, I don't know if you guys ever had a FYE over there, audio store, kind of like Sam Goody or Virgin Records, where you can sample the albums.
Yeah, right? We actually we have one at the mall in Binghamton, the city nearest to us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's fucking crazy, right? There's something.
That shit disappeared here. But so Tool Ladderless had just come out,
Mhm.
right? This is 2001. And he's jamming to the album, and he's like, man, I don't know who these guys are. He discovered Tool that day. And he goes, I'm taking this with me. So he bought the album. We saw the movie. We get in the car. As we get in the car, we had a ways back to go. He's putting it, and he goes, man, you like it? And I'm like, man, this is awesome, this and that and that. He goes, you know what? He goes, you like heavier stuff, right? Because, you know, Tool, as heavy as they were, they're again the progressive metal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he ejects the album and he puts in Vulgar Display of Power.
Oh.
So the opening, the Mouth for War. Oh my God. When that starts, I instantly look at him and he goes, right up your alley, huh? And I'm like, who is this? And he goes, this is Pantera. I'm like, I've seen the shirts. And he goes, man, this band is amazing. This is before Dimebag Pass and all that stuff, right? So they were still around. They were still Pantera. And I'm like, and it's Mouth for War, A New Level, Walk. Fucking Hostile, Walk, This Love. Like, that album is a perfect album for me.
Start to finish.
Yeah, dude. From start to finish. This is all happened. I'm sorry. My laptop is dying on me. But so this is happening. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds.
Hey, man, you're good. No problem.
So he's telling me, you know, about this band, and he's like, I'll do you a favor. Tomorrow I'll go drop off their album so you can, you know, burn them, listen to them, whatever you want. And he gave me Cowboys from Hell. He gave me Far Beyond Driven, Grace Southern Trendkill. And for me, it's bizarre that I feel like they do get their respect, but I feel like they need to be listened to more. A lot of people don't even mention them in their top 5.
No, they don't.
Hands down they're in my top 3 band. You know,
Pantera are just one of those bands that, like, they not only like kept it alive, like when metal was kind of like on a slope down, when like all the grunge stuff came out and everybody was like not into metal anymore, and like the early 90s kind of changed. Pantera didn't fucking change anything, man. They just straightforward, aggressive.
Technically, you did. You see that, metal. Right? Did you know that they started off as
they did. They were hair metal.
Hair metal.
Yeah. That was in the mid-'80s, yeah.
I had no fucking clue.
Dude.
I found out, now I don't want to say pretty recently, but maybe about like 6 years ago, more or less, like pretty recent, where I thought their first thing was Cowboys from Hell, and they just they never slowed down. Every album was just on par. Boom, their boom. Worst album is still better than, you know, half of this shit that comes out. Like, they don't have opinion, they don't have a bad album. Everything is good in the Pantera catalog, right?
I agree with that.
Metallica, being as great as they are, has some shit albums. Pantera for me doesn't, right?
No, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
So it's again one of these things. Like my girlfriend, like, because I listen to them pretty often, loves Phil's voice. And I'm like, he doesn't sound like that no more. And I'm like, but she loved him. She goes, when you think metal band, like, this is the voice you picture. She goes, his growls, when he's going fast, like, she's like, he just has such a, like, and I'm like, man, I love that that you've caught that. A lot of people, funny enough, compare Phil's voice to the lead singer of Avenged Sevenfold, because they do Pantera covers on their concert. They covered Walk when I saw them, and they covered I want to say it was...
Were they the ones that did Cemetery Gates?
Cemetery Gates. Yeah.
Is that the one? I think that's the song that I heard by them.
Yeah, and the guys, I mean, M Shadows, which is, they go by nicknames.
Okay.
Which from M Shadows has, you know, he has I think his voice was kind of gotten shot lately, but I remember when I heard that cover, I'm like, man, that's crazy. And she told me, she was, I think I like his voice because he sounds like the guy from Avenged. And I was like, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, but I'm like, you're sort of right. I'm like, I hate to admit that shit though. I'm like, I wouldn't say that out loud. But I'm like, but you're not far from the truth, right?
No.
But yeah, I can't recommend this band enough to anybody, to be completely honest with you. Every time, you know, when they mention top 5s, or I'm like, this is top 3. there was one time that, just pillow talk or whatever, and she was like, the whole, if you had a time machine, this and that and that. I'm like, crazy, because I'm like, we've seen movies like Back to the Future where they try to fix their lives and fix mistakes that they've done in the past, like the butterfly effect and all that. And I'm like, I'd actually use that shit to go see shows that I can't see no more. Yeah, I'm like,
Motherfucking right.
yeah. So I'm like, I would probably go and see like Queen at the Live Aid. I'm like, I would want to be in that crowd to see that go down. And I'm like, and I would
1,000%.
and I'm like, and I would see, Metallica in the 80s, like right, like not that, and this is not a knock to the Black Album, but I think their albums 1 through 4 are so pristine, and I love Black Album, but I just wanted to see them during that
The classic era.
classic era, from all
From like,
Injustice for All and back. I would
And
see
back,
them
yeah.
during that Injustice for All tour, just because we have all the other albums. And I told her, and I'm like, and I would hands down see Pantera. Without question, it would probably be the first band that I would go see over all the other bands. I'm like, Pantera is one band that I so sad I never got to see, and I just missed it by a couple years because a buddy of mine ended up going to the last Pantera, and it was here in West Palm Beach.
no shit.
Yeah, like one of the last shows before they broke up, and I, not saying that I was old enough to go, but I was in my teens, so I would have appreciated that show, But I absolutely love this band. I hate it's such a sad story on how everything,
It is.
and
It is. And how they fell apart even before that,
yeah, it completely sucks. I've had the pleasure of seeing Vinnie Paul perform the drums with Hell Yeah, so I've seen him.
Really?
My buddy threw my buddy a drumstick, and my friend, the Nardo's ex, he ended up grabbing the drumstick. So it's one of those possessions of his that he was like, oh my God, Vinnie Paul, like, because he loves Pantera as well. And
Dude, that's an awesome artifact, man.
his dog destroyed it.
No fucking way.
Yeah, man.
No fucking way.
He had a shepherd, and the shepherd, he was like, when he first got him, man, that dog was everywhere. He would climb things, and he got to the drumstick and he chewed it up. And I was the one that I was living with him at the time, and I got home and I see it there, and I'm like, shit. And I like text him, I'm like, dude, I have some really bad news for you. He thought it was obviously a lot worse, and I'm like, and then he's like, what happened? And I'm like, do you want the picture? And he goes, what did he destroy now? He thought it was like his shoes, his Jordans or something like that. And then I'm like, it's pretty bad, dude.
Oh.
And I showed him the picture, and he goes, I don't want to talk right now. I'll talk to you later.
We can't talk about this now.
He goes, dude, he was so mad. He was so mad, obviously. And it happened, I want to say, maybe like 2 months before Vinny passed.
No shit.
Yeah, so it was recent when this thing happened, and then he goes, now I can't even, because he was thinking, he's like, we go to shows all the time, we see Hell Yeah all the time. He's like, I'll just try to grab another one, and now we can't.
And now you can't.
Yeah, so, but yeah,
Now,
Pantera, for you, tell me about him, man. When did you hear him? What did you think the first time you heard them? Because it's, again, I had to be, I would never forget that night, and I would never forget what was the first song of theirs I heard and how I felt. Again, I went into such a detailed story because it was just that impacting when I first heard Pantera.
It was pretty much the same kind of context for me, because it was probably about 1991. And no, it was actually 1990. I was hanging out. I was in 8th grade, and I was hanging out home. My parents, like, I'm the youngest of 3, so like, by the time I came around, like, it wasn't like my parents were. My mother wasn't a lot older than me, but my dad was. My dad was like 10, 11 years older than my mom.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, and like, my mom was only like 29 when she had me, but my dad was like in his 40s. So like, but that doesn't relate to anything. My dad was like a magnificent, wonderful, beautiful human being. But like, they were at that point where they kind of wanted to do other shit. So when I got of age where I could kind of watch myself,
yeah, they would just like,
they would just go, yeah, do their thing. See ya, and fucking, we're going out. Bye. So like, the way I would entertain myself a lot was with music. So a friend of mine who got me into Metallica, you know, and as soon as you go, and you've kind of explained it, when you go down that metal road, like you go down and it's just like the fucking universe opens up, and it's like, holy fuck. So we're hanging out, a friend of mine, and there was this, they used to do blocks of videos like on certain channels, like TBS had like a little music video. Everybody had a music video show back then to compete with MTV or to have their own version of a music video hour. So TBS had this cool show. I can't remember what it was called, but once a month on a Friday night, they would have like a metal block, and it was an hour of just fucking metal videos. And I was like, wow. So I'd always we always knew when it was coming because it was like the last Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, you know, and I see like, you see like a cool Exodus one, you see like a cool Megadeth one because like Rust in Peace came out, but then fucking I'm watching. And I'm like, all of a sudden, like you hear the intro to Cemetery Gates, and I'm like,
oh wow,
what the fuck is this? And I'm like, this is fucking cool. Then all of a sudden, it just goes, wow! And it starts into the heavy shit. And this is about 1990. Like I said, I was in 8th grade, and then I just see these guys exploding on stage and just freaking out, and the guitar was insane, and the vocals were insane. The drumming was ridiculous.
Everything was pristine.
It was just perfect, man. It just lined up perfect. And I'm like, holy fuck, these guys are awesome. Yeah. But that was when I first discovered them, man. And like I said, ever since then, I've been a fan since. Like I said, I got into them early. I got into them, like I said,
1990 was Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah, I got into them then. And then we couldn't wait, Jader. We couldn't fucking wait because we knew a Vulgar Display of Power was coming out. We're just fucking chomping, waiting. And finally, when it came out, we made an older friend of ours who could drive, because we still couldn't drive but yet. He took us over to the music store in Binghamton, and we fucking all bought it, man. And we almost couldn't because, like, we didn't realize there was a lot of people, because that was like the underground place and like where you went to get cool music. And we got there's only 3 copies left when we got there. And we all got to get one, so it was fucking really cool.
I miss that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like trying to go to the because now we instantly get it, you know.
Yeah, you can get anything you want,
which is great. But I always love that venture of going to go get an album. They unwrapping the plastic, looking at the CD booklet, or that whole I gotta rush because this album might sell out, you know. And that would always happen with actually like Eminem albums would always sell out. So I would write like
well, they did too.
I would skip school to go to grab, you know, the Eminem album and then go listen to it and learn, you know, every freaking song on the album by, you know, day's end.
Yeah.
But I miss that. I don't know. I miss going to the store and you know, grabbing or watching seeing the front of the cover or seeing the back, seeing if the lyric book was in there. They actually wrote down the lyrics, you know, all that. So man, that's awesome, dude. I can only imagine just that powerhouse of hearing that I mean, again, that was the first album I heard. I ended up going from that, then went to Cowboys from Hell, Far Beyond Driven, and so on and so forth.
You went that way.
Now, the great debate, man. What for you is the better album, Cowboys from Hell or Vulgar? Or I mean, what is your favorite Pantera album? If, you know,
I'm going to be totally honest with you, man. My favorite Pantera album is probably Cowboys from Hell, because, man, as soon as I believe when the tape, like, yeah, remember, I was around, man, when they had cassette tapes, and they were the big thing to get. So I remember borrowing the tape before I actually had the CD, and I'm pretty sure the first song on side A was Shattered.
Oh, fuck.
And dude, as soon as I fucking heard that, I was like, I'm in love, and I need nothing else in the world.
And you had and side A, side A is
I think it was side A, yeah.
It was Shattered and Down. So you had the artist shredding was on. This is the last track on that thing. Clash with Reality, dude. There's so many greats.
Oh man. Yeah. What do we miss? We're Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah, or Cowboys from Hell. The beginning of the album was Cowboys from Hell, Primal, Concrete Sledge. You had Psycho Holiday,
Medicine Man,
Hearsay, Domination, dude.
Domination. There's the one I was missing. Domination. Oh my god, dude, it's so fucking sick.
I could gush about Pantera. I can have a whole 2-hour episode on that, man. But
so could I, dude.
And again, love. You saw me gush about this album right now. I think it was because it was the first one I heard. For me, Vulgar is like untouchable for me. I just absolutely love this freaking album.
Me too.
So I didn't hear. Always thought that Pantera had 2 albums only. Cowboys
No
from
shit.
Hell, yeah, for a long time. Again, it was my uncle that gave me he only gave me Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display, and he's like, listen to this. I had no idea, and neither did he. Funny enough, he went to the store, I want to say, a couple months. I guess he loved FYE because, you know, he found cool or whatever, so he kept going to that store, and he comes home and he goes, did you know about this? And I was like, dude, I get my metal information from you, man. Like, and it was Far Beyond Driven. He goes, I had no idea that Pantera had like 6 albums, dude. And I was like,
Yeah.
What? And he's like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 5, right? So it was Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display, Far Beyond Driven, Great Southern. Oh, Reinventing the Steel. Yeah.
Reinventing the Steel. Yep.
That was the last one. He bought them all.
No shit.
He saw them all. He got them all. And it was still wrapped. And again, he's like, put it on. And we ended up putting on Far Beyond Driven. And that's like, for me, one of those close seconds for me as well. I freaking love that album.
Far Beyond Driven is unbelievable.
And
man.
it's Becoming, man. Becoming. I'm Broken. So many great shit. But yeah, man. Love Pantera. Can't say that enough.
I agree.
Top 3 bands for me, and it's just they just have so much love for them, man. So
that's great. That was
way too low on this list, in my opinion.
Way too low on the list, and they should have been, like I said, Jader, I'm going to be honest with you. There's good bands left, because I was going to try to be surprised like you and just check them out as we went, but I had to skip.
We could just run through them very quickly.
I had to skip ahead because when I found out, like, well, you know, Avenged Sevenfold, all the other ones were up that high, and then Pantera 7, I'm like, fuck, I got to see what's ahead. We will skip ahead, but the biggest disappointment of this list, and I'm almost sorry that I picked it, because the next band is probably the great, in my opinion, my favorite metal band, the greatest metal band. I mean, other than Metallica and Megadeth. You're never going to believe who they put at number 6. You're going to believe it, and you're going to guess it, because
is it Slayer?
It's Slayer. Can you imagine putting Slayer at number 6?
Get the fuck out of here, man.
This. You know what? I'm almost embarrassed that I picked this fucking list.
We should have made our own list.
We should have made our own. We're going to have to next time, because, you know, after Slayer, they put Priest at 5, Megadeth at 4, Sabbath at 3, Iron Maiden at 2. But you know what? They saved us with Metallica at 1, which I got no problem with, man.
I have no problem. I mean,
dude. Yeah, there you go.
Man.
That's fucking awesome. And by the way, I saw Metallica in 1990.
Oh my God. You went for the Black Album, huh? No, was that Black Album?
91. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it was the Black Album.
Yeah,
it was the Black Album. Because my mother, here's a great one. My mother wouldn't let me go to Injustice for All because I was only 13. Even though I would have been with somebody who was cool and whatever, like that, you know, who your parents thought was cool. She still wouldn't let me go. So I was like, what the fuck? So I missed out on Justice, but I did get to see the Black Album. But, you know, disappointment, like, you know, and this is great that this happened this way, because now we can bitch about it and fucking bury it.
Yeah.
But dude, how can you put Pantera on a list of greatest metal bands? How can you put Pantera at 7 and Slayer at 6? That can't be done.
I wouldn't even.
That can't be done.
And that it's not even that. Like, just the fact that Avenged is even on that list, because there's a lot of other bands that are not being mentioned.
They're not being mentioned. I mean, for me, I would throw Exodus on there, because I love Exodus.
Testament.
There's another one, dude. Testament are great. You like Testament?
Yeah, dude.
Fucking A, man.
I've seen Testament.
Fucking A.
I've seen.
You saw Testament? I never got to see them.
Yeah, I saw Testament. Shit. They were at a festival, dude. I'm telling you, my uncle. That's who introduced me to all this shit. I think Kirk, if I'm not mistaken, played for Exodus.
He did
briefly. Yeah,
he did. He actually co-founded that band.
There you go.
How's that for a fucking?
He again. He's that you would get along with him, dude, because it's.
Oh my God.
He's the one that introduced me, and then he told me when I was younger. He goes, I promise you, this whole hip hop shit is gonna leave, and you're gonna become the biggest metalhead. It's just hip hop is for the kids, is what he would tell me. Now he knows that I have a strong love for it. He knows that I, love it as much as metal. But if people ask me what's your taste in music, it's metal is the first thing I say. I'm like, I'm a metalhead.
I always do too.
And then I show him like the newer bands. Like he had no idea who. Again, I told you Slipknot was. He had no idea who Trivium was. He has no idea who Lamb of God was. And now he's listening to these bands, and
Nice.
he's like, dude, I'm glad that you're showing me this shit. He had no idea who Killswitch Engage was. He always stuck old school,
Right.
One band that was mentioned that I saw live that I wasn't a fan of, and I went to go see them. And again, it was not that I wasn't a fan, because I know they're geniuses. It's the voice for me is just a little off, and he has a fantastic voice, but it took me a while to appreciate their music. And it was Maiden, and my uncle's top 3 is Metallica's his number 1, Maiden is his number 2, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's Megadeth for him right after.
Okay.
Right.
That's solid though, man. That's
so
pretty solid.
Those are his top 3. If I'm not mistaken, I may be off with 3 because I know he's gotten a new obsession with Tool now. So he would knock on me because he liked Tool, and then he liked Ladderless, and then he kind of like forgot about them, and then he started listening to A Perfect Circle a lot.
Ooh.
And he said that Maynard is better with A Perfect Circle versus Tool, and I'm like, you're fucking smoking rocks. There's no way that. I'm like, Perfect Circle is a great band.
They are, but I agree with you. No, I agree with you.
So now, when Fear Inoculus came out, the Tool album, I guess, brand new obsession, and now that's all he's been listening to. He says he's like only listening to that shit. Again, he wasn't a Machine Head fan. I made him into a Machine Head fan. So there's a lot of bands that I have shown him as well, right? But Maiden was one that Maiden was touring, and I know that he's obsessed with them, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna get him tickets to go see Maiden. So I got him tickets. My tickets were, here you go with who you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he goes, oh, I'm taking you. And I'm like, no, you don't have to, man. Go with whoever you want. He goes, no fucking way. He goes, nobody in the family listens to this. And he goes, and if there's any show that you need to go see live, he goes, it's a Maiden show. And then he goes, you're coming with me. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. And then I'm like, all right, whatever. So we went, and we went to the BB&T, which is where the Panthers play.
Okay.
And I got them like very good tickets. They were called the Club Lexus. So they were club seats, like 4 rows from the stage, but it was like all-inclusive drinks, all-inclusive food. Very like, yeah, it's crazy because again, they had like filet. It wasn't like chicken nuggets and wings and shit like that. It was like they had like filet mignon. They had a fountain of chocolate where you can just grab a strawberry and eat, and then they weren't giving well drinks either. It was like, they were giving Black Label, Blue Label you had to pay for obviously, but they had Crown, they had good shit. I was like, all right, cool. So we went there, and I'm like, this is crazy that we're living like, we're like this bougie lifestyle right now. And I'm like, we're like in shorts and, hats and a t-shirt with Maiden. We're going to see Maiden. But that show completely blew me away.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, my God, yeah.
Amazing show.
And you got to see them with the 3 guitarists.
Yes.
Yeah, because back in the day, they only still had the 2. It was Yannick or Dave Murray or Adrian Smith and Dave Murray. And, dude, when they finally all put it back together, they kept all 3. Dude, that must have been fucking incredible.
So, yeah, no. And let me tell you, man, Bruce Dickerson, live, dude, insane. And his energy. That guy was running up and down and jumping, and he was waving the England flag for the trooper. That it was insane, like watching him just do his shit.
Shit.
Yeah, man. It was just so great. Steve Harris kicked ass. Nico they were just there. That is a band, dude. That is a band.
Fuck.
And then I got out of that show with like, holy shit. And he goes, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And I think for like a month straight, I was just listening to every Maiden album.
Dude, listen to this. I had never got to see Iron Maiden.
Oh no, you need to, dude. You need to.
I have to. I have to.
The last time they were here, I missed them. There's 2 days a year that I cannot go to a concert. That is July 18th and December 24th. And those is my kids' birthdays. I don't break anything from it. Last time Maiden was here was July 18th. It was on my son's birthday.
Oh man.
I almost celebrated with him in the morning and like left.
Kind of like,
yeah, bye. But I can't, man. I'm just so attached to my kids.
Nah, you can't do that.
And I can't.
I feel you there.
Is that what I'm looking forward to is obviously showing him this music that if they ever, because a lot of concerts, a lot of rock concerts, like I miss Chevelle because they came on July 18th. There's a lot of rock shows that for some reason they picked that date. It's a summer tour, so it's a summer date. So they, a lot of bands tour in the summer, and so I'm like showing him this music because. I'm ready to take him to Metallica this year because he loves them so much. They're coming to Daytona.
That'd be awesome.
But it's a festival, so I know he won't be able to do like a whole day's worth of festivals. Like he's not ready for that yet. It has been a solo headlining Metallica tour. 100%, I would have taken him this year, but so I'm gonna have to wait until next time. I'm going hopefully to the show. I think me and Arda were talking about road tripping over there. But I wanted to take them, and I don't think I'll be able to. But
how old's your son?
My son turns 10, July 18th.
Nice. My son's going to be 12. Well, my middle son, he'll be 12. We're in fucking June already. June 29th, he'll be 12.
Nice, man.
Then I got a 13-year-old also.
Yeah, no, they're growing. Yeah, no, my daughter turned 7. She was born on Christmas Eve. She turned 7 in December, and he turns 10. But they're they like their music. Like she's already obviously like she listens to the rock and all that stuff, but she has her own. She likes Britney Spears. She likes Ariana Grande and all that shit. And I'm like,
and the little girls like that, and that's cool. It lets them be like,
I sing along with my daughter all the time. I don't care.
Yeah, it's fun, dude.
But yeah, and Sabbath,
it's super fun.
We didn't talk Sabbath, but Sabbath, they started this shit. Sabbath, I feel like they were the creators of what this episode's about, practically.
Yeah, there'd be nothing. We'd be talking about nothing if they weren't around, man. Like
I've had the privilege. I've had the privilege of seeing Sabbath as well, and I've seen Ozzy by himself.
I have seen Ozzy, but I didn't get to see Sabbath.
Sabbath, I great, man. The only thing that sucked is that it wasn't Bill Ward wasn't there.
Oh shit.
They had because that whole dispute where
that whole thing. Yeah, I remember that.
So I couldn't see Bill Ward, but Brad from Rage Against the Machine was the one that was touring with them. So
he was drumming.
Yeah, he was drumming for them. So that was pretty cool. But
suitable replacement.
Yeah, that was I think 2013, 2012, around there. And then I saw Ozzy about 2 years ago, and the level of disrespect on that festival, because it was a festival. Breaking Benjamin, I think, where it was a festival, so that you have all types of bands, but Breaking Benjamin would kick ass. Don't get me wrong, they were great live. They covered Pantera as well, which was really, really cool. I had never seen the crowd go so crazy. Yeah, they just started, and no vocals. They just started doing instrumentals to Walk, right? They did instrumentals to Star Wars, to the Imperial March, dun, 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 like metal. They did Smells Like Teen Spirit. They had like a whole jam session of covering just songs. I want to say it was like a 10 or 12-minute solo, no vocals, just them jamming to different tunes. Crowd went crazy. They closed the show. They were really good live. I've seen Breaking Benjamin about like 3 times, and they're great live as well.
They're from right down the road here. They're from they're from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Oh, holy shit, Scranton.
Hour away from me.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But so the show ends, and you just see crowds of people just leaving. And in my head, I'm like, dude, Ozzy Osbourne's next. How are you leaving? And a buddy of mine that was with me, he's like, dude, I'll meet you in the car. I know you want to see Ozzy. I don't fucking care. And I'm like, why? And then he goes, he's old as fuck. He's senile. He's not going to remember his lyrics. I'm not watching an old Ozzy. I'm not tainting the Ozzy image that I have of him in my head. And I'm like, all right, man, you're lost. I need to say that I've seen him, but I need to see him again. And then he was like, all right, dude. They come out. Zachy Wild's on there from Black Label Society. Zach's his guitarist, and they're there. Everybody's there. They're ready to go. They start with "Bark at the Moon" with a full moon because it was an outside festival, and the moon is just huge. It was just a perfect setting.
Oh.
When I'm telling you, I was right there by the stage because people kept leaving, and I'm walking. All of a sudden, I just see it's crowded around me. People are running back when they're hearing Ozzy sing again. It's crazy because I felt like they brought him out in a wheelchair and he's like that. I don't know if he summoned the devil or what he did, but as soon as he hits that microphone, it was watching Ozzy just Ozzy, And I was like, and he sounds so good. And I was like, what just happened? You see people, my buddy's like, dude, I ran back as soon as I heard him hear that note because everybody was like, what the fuck? And ran back. And he had to stay back, obviously, because everybody was running back to the venue.
He couldn't get up, yeah.
Yeah. And what a show, dude. What a show. He still got it. So Sabbath is one, man, that
totally won.
That's another one that every single band member is just perfect. Perfect.
And they came together at that right moment in time to progenitate this kind of music because like they just got better and better until Ozzy left. Yeah. And there's some Dio shit that's okay.
Dude, Dio's voice is incredible, man.
It's incredible, but the Ozzy stuff Sabbath,
that is what Sabbath is to me.
That's Sabbath. Yeah, that's to me too.
I saw Ozzy another band, and I know that sucks to say, but they should have. If Sabbath died, I mean, if Ozzy left, I felt like that was the end. They should have just started a band with Dio, kind of like Audio Slave, Rage. They should have you can't call it Rage Against the Machine without Zach.
Without him.
So I 1,000% agree with you. I love the Dio's. I love just Dio's voice.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me Dio or Ozzy with Sabbath, I'm gonna go Ozzy 10 out of 10 times.
10 out of 10 for me. And I saw him on the Osmosis tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got fucked because Zach had just left for the first time to go out on his own, and he had some guitarist named Joe something, and I was like, boy, this fucking and he wasn't that great. Like the show was mediocre, but I got to see Ozzy and he was cool. But Geezer Butler was the bassist, so I was like, fuck, I get half a Sabbath here. And Randy Castillo was the drummer too, so I was like, fuck, I got to see Randy Castillo. So that meant a lot to me because he was from the Ultimate Sin and No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears, so that meant a lot to me to see him do that. But Jader, we're approaching the top of the hour and a half mark here. We may have to continue this. You know what I think we should do, Jader? We should pause this here and do Jader V2, Vader Episode 2, version 9 / Stardate SG 2214. We got to continue this on, and we're going to be here every Sunday. So all you got to do, my friend, is tell me when you're here, when you're available, and we're gonna pick up back on this, and we're gonna keep going because, dude, I feel we could go on forever, man.
No, we can, and I wanted to play the fun games that you had lined up, man. I'm telling you, man. If we talk music, I know I reached out. It's just my schedule sucks right now. I know I reached out to you to talk, be on the music show on this channel to cover an album, and we already know that we're gonna have a great dynamic. So we eventually got to get to that.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, whenever you want, if you're willing to start a little bit late next week,
100%, I could.
We'll do it back to back, man.
100%, we can do that. Why don't we put that? Hey, let's steal something from the boss. Let's put that in the books.
Hey.
You like what I did there?
I like that.
Let's put that in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned next week because we're going to have Jader version 2. Jader will be back, and we will be discussing more of our preferred favorite genre of music, metal. But I got to say, Jader, it was my absolute pleasure. Where are you? You're not over here. You're over here. Okay. Jader, it was my absolute pleasure having you on tonight and having you on for the first time. It was absolutely fantastic, man. I really appreciate it.
No, anytime, man. Thank you for bringing me on. I told you, metal music, man, you got me. Don't worry about it.
and I think we've only reached the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. We didn't talk about UFOs. We didn't talk about, we didn't
talk about that, and we still got all that to talk about too.
We can't talk shit about David.
Oh, David, I tell you, we're gonna get that guy. I tell you, he's and who knows what happened, but I'm gonna go on betting saying he's asleep. So
as HR, I don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Oh, that's right, HR. Oh, that's right. So I'm washing my hands of this and I'm handing it over to the office. So
I got it. Sorry, David.
That's how it is. So anyway, for Jader, I am Arick Zandt, and you have just been on the A to Z program. Tune in next week for Jader Part 2. Good night, everybody.
Later, man.